The mysteries of unexplored waters have been calling humanity since the dawn of time. And ever since people have been able to seek out adventure by boat, other people have discovered the wreckage, fallout, and sometimes even the surviving seafarers themselves. From the Australian swamps to the stern of a Viking ship, to the lighthouses of Vancouver, mysterious boat discoveries happen all over the world and throughout all of our modern history. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 boat discoveries and mysteries. Dutch tourists hide in a tree in Australia after fishing boat capsizes in crocodile-infested swamp. There are many stories that are infamous for wildlife horror stories, but none quite like Australia. However, this did not deter 4 Dutch construction workers from taking a holiday in Darwin, in the far-removed Northern Territory. These swamps are known to be swarming with vicious, man-eating saltwater crocodiles who have taken numerous lives in the area. The Dutchmen were crab fishing in a small tin boat, only about 5.5 meters in size, when a strong monsoon wind suddenly hit them and their borrowed vessel capsized. While they were desperately trying to flip the aluminium boat upright, they began to attract the attention of the crocodiles. The 4 30-year-olds swam for their lives in the mangrove trees that are rooted in the swamp, scrambling up the tallest one in sight. It was there, caked in thick, dark mud and riddled with mosquito bites, that the men spent the next 22 hours in a deadlock with the beasts, who were surely waiting patiently below the surface. Clinging to the branches in terror, the night was long and restless. As morning came, the men were severely dehydrated and exhausted, but the tide dropped and the men decided to make an attempt at reaching the distress beacon in their upturned boat. They were able to transmit the signal, and the Australian Maritime Safety Authority sent out a helicopter to rescue the group. All 4 were lifted from danger and flown to safety. Experts agree that the men were lucky to have survived the ordeal. While the group have vowed not to go fishing again for the foreseeable future, they were on record saying that they needed to return in order to retrieve the boat, which wasn't in fact theirs. The Oseberg ship discovery. In the 1800s, a Norwegian farmer by the name of Johannes Hansen had his fortune told to him in America. On his farm back home was hidden a great treasure. Whilst Hansen himself never found it, his property, the Oseberg farm, was bought by the person who would eventually fulfill this prophecy. In 1903, Nut Rom was in fact Hansen's neighbour, and made what would today be equivalent of over $20,000 off the initial discovery of a Viking burial ship. The ship was in much better condition than ships found at the time usually were, partially due to the thick layer of marshland turf that helped to protect the wood of the 70 by 16 foot ship. The vessel was facing the sea, but it's unclear if it had ever been in the water at all. While the boat seems to have similar design and build to a typical Viking ship at the time, with the functionality to be sailed or be rowed with oars, it's possible that it was only ever intended to be a luxurious final resting chamber for the 2 bodies found inside. It was common practice in this culture to place deceased royals on a ship. If the body was male, it was tradition to light the ship on fire as it was being sent. The Oseberg ship wasn't burned as its inhabitants were female, which is lucky as it's thought to be the most beautiful surviving Viking ship in history. The tomb had been looted, most likely soon after burial. What was left was anything the voyagers might have needed on a day-to-day basis. But the bones found inside are speculated to have been very important. Dressed in rich fabrics, at least one of the 2 women was very high-ranking in the Viking class system. One of these women was around 50 years old, the other around 70. Some scholars believe that one of these women was sacrificed to escort the other through the afterlife, although it's uncertain which of the 2 was the offering. DNA sampling in the younger of the 2 revealed that her haplogroup isn't common in modern Europeans, but is instead more readily present in Iranians. This could mean that she's the descendant of the Black Sea, which is nearly 1,500 miles away from the site of discovery. There's also reason to believe that one of these women could have been the famous and beloved Queen Asa. She was the grandmother of Norway's first king, and said to have been very popular with the people. The tragedy of the SS Valencia. The SS Valencia was never designed to withstand the dangers of the winter Pacific coast. The strong northern currents, Asiatic winds, and thick fogs that obstruct a sailor's view are only some of the deadly challenges that this area poses. The ship was originally built to transport passengers along the much less hostile east coast, and only for short journeys from port to port. Subsequently, Captain Oscar Johnson wasn't prepared for the voyage he helmed along the Pacific coast in late January of 1906. Due to a series of fatal miscalculations, the ship violently crashed into Vancouver Island close to midnight. Untrained crew members mishandled already faulty lifeboats, and their lives, as well as many passengers and staff, were lost to the brutal and frigid sea. 2 separate escape parties managed to make it ashore, but both went searching for help along what they had just discovered to be the Cape Beale, Canada, 30 miles off course. Had either group decided to stay at the cliffs, someone might have been there to receive the end of a Lyle gun, a device which could throw a line from the ship to the shore, which would attach a pulley device that could transport people to safety. Unfortunately, no one was there to secure the line ashore, and the device was completely useless. One of these groups, however, did alert the lighthouse keeper, who telegraphed the bulletin. Soon the news reached the Pacific Steamship Company, which led a rescue operation. Many women refused to attempt to escape from the doomed ship, and no women or children survived. The captain went down with the final blow to the ship. The legacy of the SS Valencia is that it widely is considered one of the worst maritime disasters in its time. Remains of the ship are still visible today, thrust into the side of the coastline. According to locals, supernatural activity occurs, with reports that sailors are still seen today, with many stating a sight of a ghost ship within the waters. Despite all of these cautionary tales, mariners will continue to explore even the most dangerous expanses of water because adventure and intrigue are always calling. So what do you make of these boat discoveries and mysteries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community whilst working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.